a brand new episode of the Happy Productive Podcast is about to begin. It's time to be inspired by simple and actionable solutions for you and your business. If you're an established entrepreneur or just laying down the first brick of your future empire, the mantra is the same. We will flip any failure into a positive and use it to our advantage. This show is all about turning coal into diamonds. With the right plan and mindset, anything is possible. I'm Jennifer Dawn, your host, business coach, and founder of Best Planner Ever, and I'm here to help you achieve all your ambitious goals. Success is closer than you think. Let's do this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Happy Productive Podcast. I am with the brilliant and the beautiful and the wonderful Lainie Wulkan today. She is known as the Food Oracle. Welcome to the show, Lainie.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I already feel like all the goosies.
I know, right? She is, Lainie, you're going to love her as much as I do, you guys. You're all going to love her. She's the founder of the Center for Intuitive Food Therapy. She's the co-author of the Food Healing Oracle deck, which I have sitting on my desk right now, her amazing decks. She's a lifelong foodie, and she worked early on in Hollywood's top vegetarian kitchens for such mega A-listers as Barbara Streisand, Al Pacino, James Cameron, and Michael J. Fox. Lainie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Oh, it's just a pleasure to be here. I just love her. I'm sure everyone else knows they do too. Thanks for allowing me to be here and just to share my world. However, ask anything. I'm just so excited to really open up people's minds to things. This is a very unique niche that has turned into something quite expansive right now in 30 countries.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, so I actually met Lainie in Costa Rica when her and I were there at the Lainie Institute at a retreat that they did for the hosts, the people who were bringing retreats into their center. And we just sort of hit it off instantly. It was so funny because the first night I was there, and you guys, I'm not much of a networker. I don't really like to get out of my comfort zone. And so I went to this retreat. I didn't really know anybody. And the first night I was there was an empty seat at the big table next to Lainie. And I said, "Is anybody sitting here?" And she looked up at me and gave me a huge smile. And she's like, "You are." And I was like, I love her immediately. And we just had such a wonderful time in Costa Rica. And now we are both hosting retreats at the Lainie Institute that I know are just going to be magical. Yes. So that's how I met Lainie, and just her amazing knowledge about food and setting your intention with the food was just, I just loved everything that she had to say. And I just was just like, eat it up like crazy. So Lainie, this is why I wanted to have you.
Right? No pun intended.
No pun intended. Yes. So this is why I wanted to have her on the show and have you here with us today. I'd love for you to speak to the power of intention and what happens, right, when we put our intention on our food.
I love that. That's a great opener. And why it's a great opener is because it applies to everything we're doing, not just if we're on a weight loss plan, but it's really our mindset, and it's really what our heart set and what our soul's asking of us. And of course, we all eat. And so what I've learned through my 30 plus years of working in the food realm, both as a food scientist and also as a spiritual intuitive, is how important our intuition is, how important our gut is to make decisions on everything, right? When we have that gut instinct, right? That killer drive in the business world, but also is that food in alignment for my body? And so I have learned through the many years of doing this that our body, our soul, our intuition, if I can get a little woo-woo here, is actually the driving force to everything. And so if we can fuel the body and fuel it properly, it will give us the fuel we need to think properly, make great decisions, manifest, attract, law of attractions. Everything works when the body that's housing us, our soul, is in great high vibrational state. So I was trying to keep it in a context that brings it in real life terms, but really saying how important it is to trust your gut.
Yeah, so very important. And Lainey, one of the things that you did for me while we were in Costa Rica is you actually did a card reading for me.
Mm.
And it was all in alignment on like my business and things that I needed to clear, things that I needed to work on, but it was really all in alignment with my business. And so I'd love to have you tell everybody just a little bit more, like, how do you bring those two things together? The food and the things that we're eating, and then also like what's going on in the day to day of our businesses.
That's great. I'm just going to reach over here and show you. This might be helpful to give people some context. So in this
Mhm.
little box here are 60 cards and a wonderful book that explains some of the foods that you eat on the daily basis. And so
Mine's on my desk.
there you go.
Yes.
So the food actually has some messages from Mother Nature, and that is more of kind of a esoteric point of view. But what has happened and it has shown is that these foods tell a story, and these foods are associated with words that have been put to them. And we have a famous, he's since passed, but an iconic doctor, Dr. Imasaro, Dr. Emoto, had determined that if you can put words on a bottle of water, it actually would change that frequency. And he determined that, and this will get to answering your question about your reading, is that he determined that when he looked under a microscope, he saw that if you put the word love, it would say, it would show a different configuration of a snowflake, of the water crystal. And if you put the word hate, if you put the word I love you or I hate you, he saw great differences. So it goes in the theory of this. If you can start to look at the fact that food is mostly made out of water, and water is affected by frequency or words, well, why not put words to food? And so that's sort of the basicness of the Food Healing Oracle deck. And I have been a tarot and an oracle card reader and energy healer because I come from a fourth generation intuitive family. My great grandmother was the town psychic in Russia. And so it's been in our lineage to just have a deep set of intuition and intuitive insights. The cards are great for you when I'm giving you a reading to apply the knowledge and just to see the mystics of what it's like holding up a mirror. So I can do that for a person personally. I can do it for a business strategy. We can look at anything as an opportunity to see what is going on in what we would say is the field. So yes, so working with you and showing you some points of view, including if we got a little bit more expansive in that alternative realm, we look at chakras, and you and your business and all of us have a chakra system. And so we can actually go in and look at those strategies. And so at that point, the foods are like a character and they're giving us knowledge. And then the cards also have a better point of view above that, is that they can actually tell you personally what's going on nutritionally. But I have done business strategy readings with these Food Healing Oracle decks for years. And before that, other tarot cards. But you can actually do that. My mentor actually does tarot readings for the FBI for missing persons. So I think the time on the planet of bringing bridging these worlds are here, because people are really curious to see, as you saw, what is this cosmic blueprint of your business? And it really is eye-opening.
It's so eye-opening. And I know there's some of y'all who are listening and you're like, oh, this is too woo-woo, and that's fine. You can go wherever. But for those of you who are like, oh, I love all this woo-woo stuff, because guys, I absolutely love it too. There is really something deeper going on here, because Lainie and I, first of all, we met in Costa Rica, which was not planned. We ended up staying our last night together in a hotel room that I had booked. I was actually supposed to be there with my husband, and he couldn't go I can't even remember why, but he couldn't go. So I ended up being in this hotel room. And so then Lainie ended up staying with me. Like, it was not planned. It just happened. And then she gave me this reading in my business. And part of the reading, it came up that there was a toxic element in my business that was actually kind of harmful. And she helped me to clear it. And I'm not shitting you guys. Like a week later, the toxic element ended up leaving my business. And I did not see it coming. I had no concept that like this was going to happen. And it was a pretty major shift in my business. But it helped me to see something that I wasn't really able to see and to clear this element out of my business. And then the whole business shifted. And in that element of my business, like we literally went from losing money to making money. And it had been this just heavy part of my business for quite some time. And so I was amazed. And it was like, is that a coincidence that I have this reading? And within a week, all these things start shifting and happening that I could not have foreseen at all. And I'm just curious, like, Lainie, like, do you see this with other business owners? Because for me, it was really transformational.
Yeah, thank you. Daily. It's unbelievable when you follow that intuitive gut, or yes, I know some people might be, I do see it daily, whether it's somebody's business or it's somebody's personal questioning. Now, granted, you don't just open up the cards. I do come from a background where I do have some insight. We call them clairaudience, clairgustance, clairvoyance. You've heard these clairs before, and I have some gifts that I have a lot of these clairs, but I do find when people can come from the heart and just maybe like just be open-minded, there's more to the unseen that is governing these synchronicities and governing these miracles that happen in of course, with your blood, sweat, and tears. But there is some prayer sometimes, and there is some like, please God, make this happen, right? Everyone goes through that in their businesses. There is some realness to what we can't see as being helpers here. And so I work with businesses who I would have never have thought would hire me to look at it from an esoteric point of view. And it gives an entirely new perspective. It really does. And it also reminds them that the business is a representation of the person. And so we have to look at what's happening in the person and see if there's an alignment or a misalignment. And that alignment, once that gets in check, creates a different orbit around you. And I help look at that so everything starts working in unison, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And it's just really, it feels a little mystical, but it also just feels like so cool. I just love this stuff. And I love feeling as a business owner, like I don't have to figure it all out myself. There's a higher power out there that's really helping to guide me. And if I'm willing to like open up my mind, open up my heart and tap into this, like there's so much like wisdom out there.
Well, yes. And that's actually where you hear these sayings, and this is going to just circle back to the food part. You are what you eat, and food for thought. These cliches or these long time iconic messages really are so true, because we are what we eat. And when we say we want to have a positive mindset and we go into some of these powerhouse meetings and we learn all the ways to think positively, well, why don't we eat positively? So if we're putting something positive into the body, we already have that one step ahead. And I'll give you to me, it was mind blowing, and I'm always in awe, and I'm never like, oh, I've seen this happen. It's never old for me, but I'll just give you a case in point. I did a reading this weekend. I'll tell you what she had. The woman, and she was having some troubles. I knew she was having some struggles. She pulls the confusion card, and it was perfect. And it was the confusion is the cilantro. So she says, and she didn't know. She honestly said to me, cilantro and salsa, because I've been craving salsa like crazy. I said, it absolutely is. She goes, I just was waiting to leave here to go buy salsa to go put on my meal. And I said, that's perfect. I said, all you really need now is tomatoes, because tomatoes is our action card. Like, take some of the steps I was coaching her on, which would be take the action steps, and tomatoes and cilantro was perfect. So would you believe the very next card out of 124 cards was tomato? I mean, you could have just like, you had to have been there, but I'm like, I guess that's what you need to go eat. And literally, it's the same thing when you go to the grocery store. Like I have to prepare for a meeting. What should I make for lunch? What would get me fueled for that, mindset? could actually look at certain foods and say, I'm going to go have some blueberries. These are clarity. I want to be clear and focused for that meeting. You could actually tell your body, I need a little positive insight, some peaches. And so we gave you a guide, and actually it's already built inside of each one of you, because it's when the same thing when you go to the grocery store and you said, wow, what should we have for dinner tonight? And you're looking around and you're like, I'm going to have some artichokes, or, hey, why don't we have this? That's your intuition well ahead of you saying, this is what your body needs. So you can do this and use it as a tool for business, as a tool for personal development. And it works every time. It's not oh, I'm not so sure. It's like, no, pay attention. What is happening to you emotionally or mentally, physically or spiritually? It's cool.
It's so cool. And you guys, so Lainie also has her card decks in an app, and I actually have her app, and here we go. So here was my card today, watermelon. And it's so
wow.
interesting because I am today drinking, if you're watching this on video, if you're listening, but I have my watermelon slushy because I make a watermelon slushy with watermelon and lime. I need to look up lime, but watermelon is about release. And the last couple of days, I've been working on some deep stuff, and I'm like, oh, wow, just been unlocking some emotional junk that that needs to clear out, needs to release. It's been with me forever.
Are you ready to know what lime is? Detox.
What's lime?
You need to release the things that are toxic.
Oh my God. I hadn't looked up lime yet because it's mostly watermelon, but it's so interesting to me because I'm just like, all right, I don't know why, but I'm craving that watermelon slushy that I make with watermelon and lime, and I throw it in the blender and it's so yummy. And then I looked up release today. I'm like, there you go. That's it. Like, I've been working on this stuff. So
can I give you a little quick recipe for you and your wonderful viewers? Watermelon has been kind of up in terms of this week, and there's planetary astrologically about really releasing to manifest, because astrologically last week we were in a earth point of view. This week we're going into water, and here in Florida we're impending a hurricane. But I made a salad for this event I was at this weekend, and sure enough, it was watermelon. It was mint, which is health. We want to release for a better state of mental health, physical health, etc., with a splash of lime. And and I added feta. So it was a watermelon, mint, and feta salad with a little spritz of lime. Highly recommend you all do that if you want to eat your words and eat your way into releasing, manifesting, and attracting more of what you want once you release the toxicity of things that aren't serving you personally or in your business. And you could just do it that simply as you're eating this. Make those intentions known to your universe, to your whatever you write down or journal, or to whatever your goal plannings are. You can eat your way as you're eating that, putting in the body that I'm going to make a shift for the better.
Yeah. And I think there's just so much power in it to set your intention. One of the things that you guys, Lainie, would do in Costa Rica is we'd sit down for any meal and she would be like, oh, did you know that you're eating a plate of joy and you're eating a plate of this and you're eating, I was like, no, I did not. But I mean, it's fabulous what I'm eating right now. But she was able to just like identify so many different foods. And what was it? The soursop. I'd never had soursop before.
Yeah, miracles.
Right. And that's all about miracles. And it's just like, wow. And it was so powerful to connect my own intention with the food that I was eating. And I'm not exaggerating when I say literally after those few days we spent in Costa Rica, like I'm left just feeling physically different. And it was even hard to come home because just the quality of the food and how things are prepared is so different than what it was there. But I mean, literally, I felt my body physically change when I was eating so many amazing, wonderful foods and putting my intention on those foods.
Indeed. Oh, Costa Rica. Well, I know we both have our retreats coming up, and I actually have a second one in 25. It's exactly that. And keep in mind, Costa Rica is also a blue zone country. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with blue zone, you should be. There's certain regions in the world where they have studied the people who've lived the longest. And they have determined that there's certain lifestyles, there's certain mindsets, there's certain foods, of course, and there's certain ways of life that we should all adapt. In fact, I'm going to be teaching some courses on Blue Zone lifestyles, but Costa Rica is one of them. So there's a consciousness already built in there. And I think that's probably what people like you and I and the people who are coming to our retreats are attracted to, is finding that level of consciousness that just sometimes seems a smidge out of reach in our day-to-day when we're in the thick of building, our empires. And that gives us a reset there. And so I think that is a plus for why to go there. If anyone was even still wondering why you should immediately sign up for these sort of excursions, do so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Lainie, I know that you have a really exciting new project you're working on right now, this amazing documentary film. I love everything about it. What can you just tell us a little bit about this project?
Yeah, it's so big that I'll try to do the thumbnail sketch, but long and short of it is I have a in Nepal. He does some incredible work, including he's been the youth ambassador to the UN, and his family owns a tea company. And these teas have been around for generations, many generations. These teas help us heal. They're immunity teas. There's 50 of them. In any case, he noticed during COVID, there was a huge influx of people wanting these teas. So my company is going to soon be importing these teas to the U.S. And that in itself is amazing. And it's a gift and a blessing for all who are going to drink these teas. I've had them. They're harvested from these farms right from the base of the Himalayas. Really blessed. But the people who are harvesting them are actually farmers from these small little villages. And unfortunately, up until some time ago, the mindset, and I'm sure many people have seen the movie Sound of Freedom, is that it's been a 200-year culture that the daughters are often sold off to provide income for the households. And so this beautiful humanitarian has said that has to stop. In fact, I'm going to show you how to create economic impact with the herbs from these farms of your land. So he's done just that. So he's teaching them farming. He's actually employing some of the girls who have become survivors of trafficking. He has created opportunities for them to have jobs. Hopefully some of them, before they have to choose that lifestyle or be sold off into that, can learn a different way. And some now are owning these farms themselves. And so there's a incredible shift. So I'm putting together funds to create a documentary to tell the whole broader story about not only do these teas have incredible healing properties for those who drink it, but those who purchase it are all making a difference because they are going back to help empower these families and these young women and create just an absolute shift in mindset and heart and things that are so atrocious. It sounds like it can't be true, but we know from that movie, and that's one of many, that this does happen there, here, and everywhere. And so I'm going to do my part, and I've put my film crew together, and we're going to go film this whole story of this humanitarian, everybody involved, including the director of an orphanage who has to take the babies from those girls who become impregnated. It's a whole story, and we're going to tell it. And it all goes back to these teas, and it's called Hope from the Himalayas. And yeah, we're working on getting over there for our first trip, our first shooting in October, November, and we're going to just see how it all unfolds. So it's exciting and it's incredible. And I just feel like all the culmination, of course, with the exception of a couple of these herbs that will be in my next deck, they're all in my deck. So I find them like, wow, he's incorporating all these into his immunity tea. So there's actually a whole story behind the health of these teas. So that's as brief as I could be without spending too much of your time. But if someone's interested, I can certainly send them if you want to see this come into fruition or learn more about it. Thank you. And I appreciate your support, Jennifer, in helping see. This is a big dharma, and it feels like a big platform that, just to import the teas itself to the U.S., be the exclusive importer, is a big deal. I take that with honor, but now to be able to tell his story and get that story out to the world is like, a next level honor.
Yeah, no question. And what a beautiful thing. Talk about like putting your intention on food, that when you can drink these teas for your own health, your own well-being, your own immunity, and then you're also like paying it forward by helping these families with their farms to end trafficking. Like that to me is just such a beautiful full circle thing. And so Lainie, if people do want to like learn more about this project or help to donate or support your fundraising efforts, like where should they go?
Thank you. I have one hub, actually. If you are interested to know about more about what the Food Healing Oracle deck or about this documentary, everything's in the one place. So I'll give you two. Which one you capture is up to you. Center for Intuitive Food Therapy.com. Or we also go with an acronym for that is CIFT, CIFT. And you could do CIFTofficial.com. And both will have everything you'd want to know about me, about these wonderful food healing decks, about doing a business strategy, and absolutely supporting this endeavor to help save some lives over there would be great. That's all on the same website and hub.
I love it, you guys. And we will put links to this in the show notes as well. So if you're driving your car and you couldn't write it down fast enough, just go to happyproductivepodcast.com and you'll find the episode here with Lainie, and you'll see all of that in the show notes. Lainie, thank you so much for being here with me today. You guys, I don't know if you heard at the beginning of the show, but they have a hurricane on the way, and Lainie is literally like being here with us and then leaving the area so that she doesn't get blown away. So thank you so much for being here with me today. And is there any final parting comments you just want to share with the audience that you feel moved to share?
Yeah, I just was blessed to be in a chapter book, a collaborative book. A woman out of Wales picked 20 people from around the world that she felt had unique modalities. And in there, it's called Energy Healers Oracle. You can find it on my website. If you want a signed copy, it's on Amazon. It's everywhere. It's international now and number one in many countries. But the point of it is I wrote a chapter called Intuitive Food Therapy, and I walk you through my whole history, and then I give you a process in there, including a free activation. And it's giving you a whole bigger understanding of how everything connects, from you as a whole being of nature, to understanding what chakras are, to color therapy, to food, and mostly how intention and intuition are so important for every part of your life. So that's sort of in a nutshell, that chapter is a really great starter to get to know this world and understand what's on your dinner plate or what you're choosing at the farmer's market. So I hope everyone looks at their food differently. I suspect that you will. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think that you can use your deck and read the cards and learn about foods and not look at food in a different way. And in a much, at least for me, a much more powerful way. Mm. And I just love setting my intention on the food. And it just, I don't know, it just makes eating a whole lot more fun.
It sure does. And it's fun to do with couples. I mean, you could do with the family. I mean, it's amazing. We've had the Girl Scouts hire us to help understand what smoothies they should be having for their puberty, breakouts. It's amazing where this has gone. It's not just over here on this sort of woo-woo track. It's definitely gone mainstream. So, yeah.
Yeah, no question. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lainie, for being here with me today. I really, really appreciate it. All right, you guys, get out there and check out Lainie and all her amazing wisdom and all her amazing decks and all her amazing foodiness. So that's it. And
thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And thanks for being here with me. And you guys get out there and have a happy, productive day. Bye, y'all. I hope you found today's episode of the Happy Productive Podcast inspiring. Every successful business is formed by a set of small, consistent, and attainable steps. If you want to learn more, come visit us at jenniferdawncoaching.com to take your next step and learn how to meet your business goals. On our website, you're going to find free resources along with links to the life-changing coaching programs that have transformed the lives of so many of our clients, including the Coaching Academy and our Unbreakable retreats. Many of them started their journey by listening to this podcast. That's it. Thank you for listening and stay tuned for our next episode.